Success doesn't come easy. It's built on late nights, early mornings, and relentless hustle. Keep grinding, stay focused, because every step forward gets you closer to your goal. Don't stop now.
I am JK'z. This is JK'z Rewatchbauer. This is my new skit called Dueling Mics with JK'z, because I have two mics because I am unsupervised when it comes to ordering stuff from Amazon. So I don't know why I just keep on ordering stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're wondering who this lady on the screen is, I know you have heard of her. You have seen her on our show before. This individual not only has her own podcast, but she is blazing a trail. She gets these people on her show and she talks about success stories. So I thought, why not interview the incredible trailblazing? She's killing it in the podcast game. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show the creator of Success Stories, Miss Teresa Aker. How are you doing?
Jeff, after that intro, I don't know. Yeah, I'm very humbled. Thank you so much. That's very nice of you.
No, it's true. I see everything that you're doing. You're doing 8 or 9 shows a day. You're I see it on YouTube and Facebook. So you do deserve a lot of credit, and you're blazing a trail. Seriously.
Thank you, my friend. I've been very blessed. I've had great people on my show like yourself. I've met the most wonderful stories. It's not about me, really. It's about all the stories of all the people who have overcome adversity, who have stories of success. I love those stories, just as you do. I know that because you've been on my show and we talked about it. I am honestly blessed is the best word I can use. I think it's just wonderful. People are prepared to share their stories, and I want to listen and I want to bring those forward. So other people, if they have issues or they're not quite sure they're going to be able to get through it, they can see that other people have and they can follow right behind them.
Definitely. And I also want to point out the fact that you have this constant smile. I don't think I've ever not ever seen you smile. You are very professional. You're very, very easygoing. And I think that is a magnificent thing to have in this podcast game. And as you were saying, you want to bring people's stories to life and you want to share them with hundreds of thousands and millions of people. So, as I had said, let's interview Teresa tonight. So I want to ask you, so our listeners and your listeners, and their listeners and their listeners and their listeners wants to know, one, how did you decide to start a podcast?
Okay, so that's a good question, Jeff. Thank you. So when I originally started the podcast, prior to that, the reason I thought about it is a few things, actually. I had gone through some difficult grief. And a long time ago, I reached out to a lady who had written a book. Her name is Heather Stang. And she did a wonderful job in her program of helping people go through tremendous grief, which is what I was going through. And she was so helpful. I had gone through her program. I bought her book, and she's since then written other books. And I was so impressed with what she had done that I thought other people have to hear this lady. And I had thought I might do a podcast, but I really wasn't quite sure what I was going to do. And then I think part of it was I kept thinking, what should I do? And then I thought, it really isn't about me. It's about all the viewers. So I thought, why not bring Heather, her information and her story and her journey to the viewers so I could see so they could see rather what I could see in her. So I said to her, what do you think? Would you come on my show? I'm thinking I'm going to start a podcast. She said, oh yeah, I'm in, because we got along really well. And my goodness, she came on, we had our first show, and I'll promise you this, Jeff, I am not technical at all. So I just said, Heather, however it comes out, we're going to go with it. And she said, I don't even mind. We got along so well. And let me tell you, everyone was wonderful. The viewers tuned in, people tuned into her. She's so down to earth and so caring and giving. And she talked about her story and we talked about my story. And by the time I was done, I was confident that I was on the right path. Then I got a lot of comments about it, a lot of wonderful people calling and say, Teresa, thank you. We really enjoyed Heather. Heather's such a good person and she was so helpful and I learned a lot from her. I thought, 100%, I'm on the right path. So that's where it took off, Jeff, and I've been doing it ever since.
And that's excellent. I was making some notes. And one of the things I wrote down was you used the word journey. You wanted to bring people's journeys to life, if that's okay to say like that. Is that what made you call your show Success Stories?
I actually was going to call it Reach for the Top because I was actually going to talk really about people reaching for the top. But then I thought, you know what? It's their story. It's a diary. It's their journals. So I was sitting there thinking, what could I call this? I knew I wanted to call it something to do with stories and success because they overcame it. And it just hit me one day. It was just diaries, success diaries. That's what people write in their book because I use a journal. So I thought, okay, let's see how that goes. And no one seemed to have it. And it was Success Diaries with Teresa Aker. And I just posted it and it just seemed to go with that. So that's how I did it.
Well, I definitely say that you're blazing a trail because obviously, so all of our listeners know, Teresa and I, we just didn't, meet on the internet an hour ago. We've been talking for about a month or so, and we've helped each other back and forth, which is really good because everybody wants to make something of themselves in this. But here, Teresa and I, and several other people with JK'z Rewatchable Hour are helping each other. I know several of my friends have reached out to you. They're going to be doing their own individual story. Now, is podcasting your full-time job, or do you just fit it into, after work, before work? Because I know you do show after show after show every day.
Jeff, it's become my full-time job. And when I say full-time, you're right. I'm happy. I wanted it to turn into something. Originally, I was working, and then I was semi-retired, not retired from life, but just semi-retired from the career I was doing. And I had been doing a business, but I really wanted to do this. I wanted to give back. When I say give back, I love watching people succeed. I did motivational speaking, a lot of that. And one of the best parts of motivational speaking is watching someone create the dream that they wanted. So when I see these people have already succeeded or they're on their way, that makes me happy. I love to be able to give back. So I had a lot of people come and say, Teresa, I really liked your show. How do I get on your show? Or I'd like to know about this. So I'd reach out to other people, say, okay, I need a lawyer because we want to answer questions about this, or I need a doctor about this. And people were quite willing to come on. So what happened was I ended up with such a backlog that I was able to release up and say, okay, this is what I love it so much, Jeff. This is what I want to do. So yes, it's full time. So I made a long story even longer, but yes, that's what I like to do.
No, because actually this is turning into success stories from and about Teresa Aker, which is what your show was all about. And I'm sitting here listening to you. And I know the first couple of times that we were on each other's show, you always had this smile. You were so bubbly. You were so full of energy, and you're bringing to life what you see in other people. And I think that's one of the best things about your show is the atmosphere. And I'm not just saying that because we're friends. I mean, literally, you have a uplifting atmosphere, and you're always smiling, and you're always funny, and when you bring a guest on, you are doing your homework. Unlike me sometimes, which I don't, you are prepared from 1 to 10. Is that because you were a speaker, a motivational speaker before all this? Because this seems like it's coming very natural to you.
Thank you for saying that, Jeff. And I might add, Jeff, on my journey, it was people like you, and I'm not just putting this back to you. You were more than willing to help me with my journey. So when I had questions, I was able to reach out to people like you. There was other podcasters that helped me out. And I would have questions, and in groups, I certainly had help along the way. So yes, first, I did have help as I went. Two, where did it come from? Well, you are right. I did do a lot of motivational speaking. I worked with a cosmetic company. I was their sales representative, but I did speaking for them at our presidential dinners, things like that. I did motivational speaking for them. So what happens is you do naturally, I guess, over time. It takes practice. That's for sure. But it is something I'm grateful that I'm able to do, because it is, you do have to be organized, as you know. And when guests come on, I want to give them the respect and the decency to know exactly what they're doing and offer those questions that are going to be able to enhance their story and make sure that I'm on the right track with them. Because the people that, as you know, Jeff, because you have, boy, I was on your show with your team, and you have wonderful people on your show, the same as you, and they all have their own story. And as you indicated before, they're going to come on my show. When they come to my show, I want them to know they have my undivided attention, that they matter, and everything I have goes into that time with them, because they deserve it. They're the ones who went through the journey, not me. I have my own journey, certainly, but when I bring it forward, that's how I feel about it. So I think as well, I want them to come away thinking they did a really good thing. So if I can give them a little bit plus when they leave, it makes me feel good too. I get a lot more out of it probably than them.
And there's that award-winning smile again. I was taking notes as you were talking, and obviously, ladies and gentlemen, I highly recommend seriously going to check out Success Stories with Teresa. There is a lot of great people on there. There's a lot of stories, and with what you were saying, about being organized and out of respect. I won't mention, the names of the people that you had on, but we right before we came on the air, we were talking about the one person, the Marine. And I just know that if I had to go on a show and I didn't know the person, and if they weren't organized, if they weren't professional or respectful, I probably would have shut down. And here you are, extremely successful, because you're sticking to the basic foundation that you believe in. And you're carrying that onto your show and onto your guests, because as you said, you're trying to pay it forward. Would that be the correct way to describe the way you think when you enter into a podcast?
Jeff, absolutely. Yes. And we were talking about someone that we both know. And here's something else I might add. I definitely am on social media. I love social media. When I say that, I am a Facebook junkie. That's the way I am. I love YouTube. I barely watch television, to tell you the truth. I'm always on YouTube. And why am I on it? Because I like real people. They're the people that I can relate to. I don't know about you, and I'm pretty sure you're the same way. It's one thing to see a celebrity, and they're lucky and they're grateful and they've gone through their success story, and I think that's wonderful. But it doesn't relate to me. It doesn't relate to everyday people. And what I think on YouTube, we have more and more people coming on, willing to share their stories and teach us what they went through. So I guess in answer to your question, yes, I do have a policy that, yes, this is my routine. I want someone to come on. I want to recognize what they do. And when I have them come on my show, I have done my research. So I'm able to say, let's say on Facebook, I may have already built a relationship up. You and I met on Facebook. A
Yep.
lot of the people I have on, I've definitely met either on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. And from that, I'm able to build a relationship of real people. And I usually ask the people that I can see have really built something for themselves and are really serious about their lives and really trying to grow. So why not help them grow? I mean, that's really what this is all about. We've had, I think, a lot of bumps and bruises. I think, in my opinion, we had 9/11, we had COVID, we've had, oh my gosh, as early as today, an airplane has gone down. I mean, it feels like sometimes we're just bombarded with so much these days that I think it's really important to, you can't be positive every minute of every day. But if you can bring a positive message and help each other, we can all get through this, whatever this is, if that makes sense, Jeff.
100%. No, absolutely. And I love the way you said exactly how you just said. I'm gonna have to rewatch it because my mind's like a squirrel. Like I have like a 5-second memory thing, and I know if I try to recite what you just said, I'm gonna butcher it. But I will obviously talk to you again, and I'll be like, hey, you remember that thought that I lost on the air live? But so all of our listeners, how long have you actually been doing podcasting?
Oh, I think it's been about 2.5 months.
So let's just say roughly 60 days, and you have had off the top of your head, how many guests?
Oh, I would think about, I'm thinking 50 or 60 guests.
That is, ladies and gentlemen, so
That
obviously,
I put up, Jeff. I haven't put them all up yet.
yep.
Like
Obviously,
I have to record them and edit them, as you know. So
yep.
About that, but I don't have them all up yet. But certainly, 50 or 60. I'm thinking maybe around there, or 70, maybe 70. I'm not quite sure.
Gotcha. So obviously, like I said, I said earlier, you and I, we have established a friendship, a bond, and we talk almost every day. We're in the same Facebook group. We're on Instagram, but I had no idea how long you were doing podcasting, and I just know that, I get the notification, another success story on YouTube, and I'm like, oh, she's doing another one. 2.5 months, and you're doing about 60 or 70 shows. Or guests. That is, and that's why I said I knew that you were doing shows. I just didn't know how many. And that's why I said trailblazing, because you have hit the ground running on this. Did you think that you would have this much? And it is success. You are having tremendous success, because I know that once you go on success stories with Teresa Aker, you're going to want to come back. And it's not just because of her smile or her bubbly personality. It's the fact that she respects everybody that comes on her show, and you actually care. But you have hit the ground running, and did you think it would be where it's at after 2.5 months?
No, Jeff, I actually, thank you. Thank you for your kind words, first of all.
Okay.
No, I honestly did not. And I mean that humbly, because as I said, when I first started, it really was to bring Heather's story to light. I was really hoping people would like the show, and they seemed to. And I did about 5 more, and I was monitoring it. I was going to do it anyway. I should add in between, I do motivational segments. So I don't know if you've seen them, but I do small clips where I try to bring tips and ideas as people are growing their success stories. And these are just tools that I've had, that I've learned along the way, that I try to bring to the viewers as well. So it's not, it's not just the guests. I certainly try to add value to what I've learned and bring that forward. As I look at the whole thing, you're right. I do a lot, but quite honestly, I'm doing it because I was able to let go of what I was doing, and I'm able to do this full time. And it means a lot to me. It's what I love. And I feel like if the viewers want me to keep going, then I'm going to keep going. How's that?
100%. One of the words that I took from the last thing you just said was value. And I know that your platform that you use is a voice for other people to come on and be able to talk. And one of the things that I was thinking about today was, do you know how impactful that is, or the humongous impact that has on an individual's life who maybe has been waiting decades to talk, and here they are, they say, oh, hey, there's this lady named Teresa who does the success stories. Maybe I could talk. And I'm just going to assume that when they go on your show and they find out, whoa, this is really laid back, this person is looking at me smiling, she's prepared, I feel comfortable. If you could, and if you would, what are some of the compliments that people have told you about your show after they've appeared on it?
Oh, thank you. I have, thank you. I've had some nice comments. I had one lady this morning. I read her. I do read the comments, and just so you know, I do reply to them. So a lady this morning was talking about one of my shows, and she said it was about, I had mentioned about doing journaling and lists and so forth on one of my shows. And she said, Teresa, I really took your advice to heart, and I've decided that I'm going to start doing journaling. I watch your shows, and I'm going to continue watching and share it with my friends. And I really appreciate the advice that you bring. So that was just as early as this morning, one of them that I can think of off the top of my head. I've had other people say, kindly, I had a lady say to me, she said, Teresa, I like your voice. You're very calm, and you make the podcast very warm and inviting, and it makes me want to continue listening. Another gentleman left me a message and said, you listen, and it's so important to listen to your guest. And so when I'm on there, I know you're not going to interrupt them. You're going to be pleasant, and you're going to be respectful, and I can hear what the guest is saying instead of you interrupting. So those are the three comments that I can, off the top of my head, think of.
Absolutely. And obviously, just speaking from experience, when I see the comments on our channel, I think when whoever gets into podcasting, obviously they want to make a living. I mean, that's just, it is what it is. But I love when I hear how people reach out and say thank you, or they give you a compliment by like, hey, Teresa, I took your advice. To me, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but I want you to give me your opinion. I think that makes you want to keep on doing it more and more, and like never take a break, because maybe that one person really needed to hear you. And maybe that was just exactly what this person needed right then and there, and the stars lined up, and it was just perfect. And maybe you helped that individual more than what you'll ever know.
Oh, that would be wonderful. That's the whole point of us doing it, isn't Jeff? I know you help a lot of people in your group. Oh, absolutely. That I can honestly say the whole point of me doing the show, and I call it a talk show really, because it does get uploaded to a podcast, but honestly, my mainstay is YouTube. I think because I like the audience to be able to see the guest, because it's their story. It's not my story. I want them to see the guest. And when I started, I honestly, to tell you the truth, I didn't know how to do a podcast. So I started on YouTube because I knew how to do that. And so the videos allow me to say, okay, here's the guest. We're talking. It's just a conversation, Jeff. That's all it is. But I have to admit, and actually you helped me be able to upload the audio to a podcast. And as I grow that podcast, I'm hoping down the road, if people are doing auditorial, they're listening, I hope they really do listen to guests, because their stories are so inspirational. I've had some guests that you can't even believe what they've been through. And my goodness, they're sharing they're helping other people. And make no mistake, they went through things I'm not sure I could get through. So I respect that. And if their stories continue and people allow me to continue this show, I'll do it forever. I love it that much.
No, absolutely. And I was just listening, and I am just so grateful and honored that you have a platform that you're allowing, that you're in the process of helping people. And I hope the words I used don't take away the importance of your show. But I think you are. I think you're allowing people, just random people who need to talk. And there is a need for these types of podcasts. And one of the things that I wrote down when I was listening again, you have a tremendous sense of humor. Like I said, you're always laughing. And before we got on the air tonight, we had some technical difficulties. And I think that I'm calling her through Skype, but I'm calling her through Facebook Messenger. And for a couple of minutes, I couldn't figure out how to record. But the reason why I brought that up is because I know that you have been extremely busy, as it's been established. And I had reached out to you tonight, and I said, hey, I have an opening. How about you interviewed? I know that you've already had a busy day, and you took time out of your life and your busy schedule to come on here. And as we're trying to figure out how to record which was not Skype at all, you're sitting there laughing with me when we get connected, and you're laughing right now because when you had answered on Skype, I'm laughing saying I was trying to call you through Messenger. No wonder I couldn't find the record button. Which
The
yeah,
show must go on, Jeff.
but I think that is an incredible trait that you have. You're like, basically you're just like, things happen, as and we're sitting here laughing about it, and I just want to tell you how appreciative I am of you for that, because sometimes I make big blunders on this show and trying to call somebody from but we're also talking on Messenger, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna hit record, and I'm like, okay, I can't record. And then you said, hey, call me back, and I call you back on Messenger, not realize. So yeah, I just want to, just give a huge thank you for dealing with the technical difficulties that we started about almost an hour ago.
Yeah, but you know what, Jeff? Here's what my philosophy in life is beautiful. It doesn't matter. I have to tell you, I've had some tremendous losses in my life. And when I say that, people I dearly, deeply love. And it took a long time for me to get over it. I was a positive person before, and I'm a positive person now. What happened was, through that, I actually came out the other side, if you will, an entirely different person. I'm doing things that I would never have done before, like a show like this. It has given me a lot of empathy for people to understand what they're going through. And most of all, Jeff, I've learned life is too short. These little technical things just don't matter. Just have some fun. It really, you're a wonderful person. Why get upset? If someone cuts you off in traffic, oh, well, maybe, I've done it to other people. I don't mean to. And so if somebody does it to me, I think, oh, they're just, they messed up. When we make mistakes, it's not worth it. It's just not worth getting upset about. Look on the bright side of life. I know you can't always be smiling and laughing and stuff, but boy, when you can laugh off the small stuff, when you hit the big stuff, at least you're going to get through it, right?
Absolutely. Just too bad I didn't have another camera set up to catch me trying to record on Messenger thinking it's Skype. That would have been really, 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 that would have made some funny outtakes. So listen, I know that you've had a long day, and we're going to wrap up the show here in a minute. Again, like I said, I know that you've just been busy almost 24/7. I swear, I log on to YouTube, and I get notifications like out of this world from Teresa Aker. Just in the last couple of minutes, if you would, tell our listeners, my listeners, your listeners, our listeners, what your upcoming week looks like. This is just how busy she is.
Oh, thank you, Jeff. I do I have at least anywhere from 5 to 6 shows a day. I used to do 3, but I'm at 5 to 6. I have to edit them and have to put them up. And then I put them on I upload them to my podcast, which is auditorial. So I do that. And I'm interviewing, not really interviewing, but talking to future guests about coming on the show. And then I set up all my appointments. So what I've learned to do, Jeff, is use my calendar, my electronic calendar, as well as my day timer, to make sure I line them up. And as you know, you line up the meeting, and then some people have to shuffle it around, or I have to shuffle it around. Sometimes I go over with the show, so I have to move someone. So it really is an all-day thing. I will tell you, I booked all this week solid. I actually had to book some time off Thursday afternoon for myself just to breathe. But I'm happy about that, Jeff. It certainly is work, and I'm tired at the end of the day, but it's a good tired. It's something I'm just so grateful and blessed to be able to do. I got to meet people like you and your lovely wife and your friends on your team. There's so many amazing people out there. So this will be my life, as I said, forever. The good Lord willing, and the viewers allowing me to keep going, then that's what I'm going to do. And I just think the world of everyone that I have on, and people I get to interview with. And yes, I laugh a lot because it's important.
Absolutely, absolutely. So just one more question, and as I said, or I was thinking the last time I just said, going to end the show, but I was just thinking of something. obviously, you have a voice that cannot be mistaken. You are all over all social media, Facebook, Instagram. Obviously, you are definitely all over YouTube. Here's a question, and you can take time to think about it. If you're walking down the street or if you're in the local coffee shop and somebody comes up to you, male, female, it doesn't matter, like, oh my God, you're Teresa Akers. I've got to talk to you right now. What is the first thing that you would do?
The first thing I would do if somebody said, oh my gosh, you're Teresa Aker, I'd say, oh my goodness, it's you. Who am I speaking to? And then I'd want to know all about them. Because you know what, if they acknowledge me and they recognize me, that would be humbly very, very nice. And then I'd want to know what their story is. Because if they're watching me, they probably have a story of their own. How's that?
Absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're listening to this, I have no doubt that would be the first thing that Teresa would say. So listen, Teresa, I'm not going to keep you any longer. I just want to say thank you for coming on the show. I made up this little, dueling mic with JK'z because I am, unsupervised when it comes to ordering stuff off Amazon. I'm unsupervised a lot, but so I just want to say thank you for coming on the show. I'm going to put all of your information so everybody can go to YouTube and they can go to Instagram and they can follow you and they can even reach out if they want to come on your show. I know that you have been really busy. Thank you for coming on the show. I know it was a last minute invite. I appreciate you stepping up. And I wish you just nothing but the continued success. Keep doing what you're doing. You are changing lives. You are making a difference. And that's probably one of the best compliments I can give you, that you're making a difference. In your comments on YouTube, they solidify it. You don't need me to sell for you. The comments that go on your page, on your videos, solidify your show and what you truly stand for. Ladies and gentlemen, this is JK'z. This has been JK'z Rewatchable Hour. The smiling lady with the bubbly personality is Miss Teresa Akers from Success Stories. Look at all the links on this video in order to get in touch with her. With that, I say thank you, and I'm going to stop recording.
You just stumbled upon JK'z Rewatchable Hour.